What's up, everybody? Broskadamus here, and we're finally back. Finally, after work and school, we're starting a new job and everything. We're finally back. I miss doing videos. I really wanted to get back to it, so we're finally here. Everything's calmed down a little bit. Still going to be busy until middle of December or so, but I'm going to try to get videos going again because I miss doing it. So, as we pick up our mission here, I believe it was Snowy Mage, I think. If I screwed that up, I'll figure it out in just a second, but there's a couple of things I'd like to say while we browse the shop here and get reacquainted with what's actually going on in the Let's Play. First, I'd like to apologize that this took so long. With school and work, starting up a new job, I just haven't had much time. It's been brutal. But I think now that I've got my schedule kind of worked out, I've got days where I can sit down and do this again. So I'm happy for that. And I'm hoping that it'll be more regular again. Even more so than previously. So we'll see. And in the background here, you're not missing anything. I take forever in the damn shop as I try to figure out what weapons I want to switch out for Marsh and Yave here, trying to figure out what abilities I want to teach them, which one's faster, etc. So you're not missing anything. I'll sum it up at the end. And two, I'd like to thank you guys for being so patient. I know it sucks not having any content. Why would you want to be subscribed to a channel that doesn't give you any content? That's stupid. So I really appreciate you guys sticking around and waiting out the storm. So with everything out of the way, I hope that I can get things out more regularly. There's a couple of things I'm working on. I have something that I want to start that's a little more serious, takes some time to edit, learn better editing, learn better sound. I'm working all that still, so I appreciate you guys sticking with me. And I'm hoping to start up another series to run alongside this at the same time, but that's something to be worked out later, and if I even have the time. This comes first. We're going to be finishing this before I move into anything real serious. So now that that's all out of the way, let's start worrying about the actual video. I don't want this whole thing to be an update video. Let's just jump in. So here I'm looking for new equipment, like I said before, as we started to master abilities. And I really agonize over trying to figure out if I want battle boots or gauntlets, as I have some money and we're in a situation where, at least for this mod, I feel like we should use the money that we're given and not just sit on it. Like, you run out of things to get in. I will have that edited out so you will not hear it. But what I was saying was, in vanilla, you really didn't rely on money that much, as things were pretty cheap. So after you passed early on and then a few item purchases later on for mastering all of the abilities, you really didn't need to buy too much. Maybe some consumables, but other than that, there wasn't a lot to buy. So in this one, I feel like use it or lose it with your money. Sorry. I believe I'm getting sick. So that fucking sucks. Anyway, that aside, videos are still coming. I apologize for my voice, though. I don't actually know what's going on. I'm going to mute and take a drink. Alright, and I'm back. Sorry, I really don't know what's going on with my voice. Alright, our main objective throughout the shop here is find items that will allow us to quickly master soldier abilities so we can move our soldiers, Marsh and Yave, into more specialized classes. So what I'm doing here is I picked up a short sword because, well, we don't have one, and I'm going to teach Yave first aid with it because it's learnable fairly quickly through only a couple of missions. I also picked up a pair of battle boots, 2 actually, and I did pick up gauntlets because I had the money. I ended up selling one of our bronze shields because I do not need 3 of them. They're just going to take up space, and there's no reason to sit on a bunch of items, especially in this mod. So here we're going to start outfitting. And when it comes to Marsh, I decided to give him boots as well as Yve because they're kind of our frontline tanks here right now. And deciding what I wanted to give him exactly was a little difficult. I ended up having to give him a 2-hander, so I had to unequip the shield. So in which case is kind of the reason I bought the battle boots, and I decided to give him gauntlets as well because he had the free slot. So he's a little more to the damage side of the soldiers now, if you can even say that for a soldier. I mean, talking out my ass there, they do pretty good damage. They're not bad. And then we give Yve here the other battle boots. And I decided to give him the short sword, like I mentioned earlier, the one that we purchased, because it's fairly easy to learn it. So I kind of want to get them moving. I haven't decided which specialization I want to go with each of them. I'm leaning toward Paladin with Marsh, and Yve might move into Fighter, but I haven't nailed anything down yet. So if there's any suggestions, just let me know. I'm happy to hear it, and as I do not know everything about this mod, I'm playing this semi-blind from a point of view of someone who played vanilla and a little bit of a previous version of this mod. This is about as far as I've been, so these are all kind of new to me as I learn some of these things, so I'm happy for the feedback. So we do have Lucas as a white monk. I felt that we don't really need the warrior, and I feel like the white monk can lead us to better things. I also really enjoy, since the last mission, the black mage. I don't know what it is with the black mage, but when I played vanilla, I hated it. I hated the black mage, and I don't know why. It probably was because it was Mont Blanc. And that little shit. That little shit. We'll get on with our life beyond that, but let's just save here and get into the mission. The new Mao Black Mage that I have is so much better than Mont Blanc. And the only reason I'm still using Mont Blanc is because he's pretty effective as an animist right now. If you check out the Insane Difficulty forums, you'll see that I'm not the only one that feels this way about Mont Blanc. So checking our laws here, we cannot use Shell, which kind of sucks, because I would like to use Shell. I believe Shell is the physical one. I could be an idiot, because it's been a while. I recorded this video a while ago, because I actually have a confession to make about this one. This is actually my 3rd time doing this mission, because the first 2 went horribly, horribly wrong with video recording. It wasn't even the mission going horribly wrong, it was just the video recording. So that's pretty terrible. So I was on a pretty good streak of being able to one-shot most of these missions up until this one, where my video software decided, yeah, no, we can't have that anymore. So we're going to go ahead and basically cut out recording 3 minutes in. But, I mean, if you're hearing this now, it turns out it worked. Alright, it worked. If you're not hearing this, I'm again talking to myself for roughly 25 minutes. So I'll feel like an idiot later if this is not up. Anyway, with this mission, we have all somewhat dangerous enemies. The dragon still scares the shit out of me. The dragon always scares the shit out of me, especially when we miss the leg shot. The panther, I actually underestimated. I didn't check him. I should have checked him. At least the first time I should have checked him. At this point, I knew what he was capable of. So, actually, I take back what I just said about Shell. Shell is the magic one, I believe. Protect should be the physical one, because that's the one I just cast. So I am an idiot. Now, this Float Eye, I didn't know what he was capable of the first time I did it. But he's got an ability that scared the shit out of me, but he never used it. And I'm not sure why. If he just never had the opportunity to use it, or because I played this 3 times, and he didn't once use the ability. I did remember, though, the first time I did this, that he could fly. So we're going to put him to sleep. And we're going to try to keep it that way. Though on a priority list of these enemies, I want to lock down the dragon and somehow prevent that caster from casting because he's got some AoE shit that'll get real gross real fast. But we do have an effective black mage. One thing I did notice about black mages is they can't seem to hurt each other with black magic. I don't know if that's a bug or if I'm missing a new effect, but fuck. Not butt fuck, but in this situation fuck, because they just one-shotted our archer again. And that's why I wanted to lock down the dragon, because he always seems to do that to the archer. Every time we have a dragon. And that's what I underestimated about the panther. The ability to have a ranged attack that poisons. Now the poison doesn't scare me that much, but the ranged attack does, because I do have some enemies, or allies rather, units, that I really don't want taking hits, considering they can't take a lot of hits. As you can see, apparently it didn't really matter, because our archer died in 1 hit anyway. So we need to lock this dragon down, hopefully, and we'll start with a speed break. And I can feel my voice going again. Pardon me again. Alright, I will be editing all of those out so you guys don't have to put up with that. But again, apologies, I don't know what's wrong with my voice. So we're gonna pick up our archer, because I believe she's fairly safe considering she's facing most of the enemies. I don't think anything can get behind her before she gets a turn. We do have to contend with their black mage. From the front we should be okay, and we are. Luckily, that would have killed her again and wasted a phoenix down. But now it's my turn to strike back with our black mage. Checking our turn order, we want to make sure who's going next isn't near enough things that I really don't want them to hit. So we're going to hit the unit that gets to go next. And this is just before I found out that, for whatever reason, black mages don't take damage from one another. And I'm still not sure why. I mean, if you know why, let me know. I would be glad to know. Could always be an item effect I'm not familiar with. So when it comes to Mont Blanc here, he's pretty much our backup. We're going to try to use him to lock everything down with sleep, like always. And we got another one. This is very good. 2 out of 4 enemies are locked down. I'm very happy with this. And our white mage is free to move around and heal our units that are clumped up. Now, that's not necessarily good that they're clumped up because they have a black mage, but in this case, briefly, it's a good thing. And we were able to bring Colette back up to full health, even though that full health is pretty low. And we're going to try to lock the dragon again. We really need to lock the dragon. And it missed. I don't know what it is with that dragon, but that dragon will not stay still. So, now that we've slowed it, we've bought ourselves a little time, and we're going to be doing something similar here with Yave, trying to figure out what's going next, and we're going to try to undercut it, if possible, of course. And I want to see what range Marsh has to move. So finding that Marsh can move close enough to the Panther to take an action, I believe that's what that was, I decided to go for the flow die. Slow it down. Try to control it. And I could not. Just short. So we decided to power break the dragon. It's better than not doing anything in one turn. So reducing down the dragon's attack power and his speed should really help. And this is fucking bad. But because of that power break, our black mage barely lives. Just barely. I'm amazed that he lived. And then here's the oddity again. No damage. But the AI attacked him as if he could finish him off. I don't know what's up with that. I don't have any special items as far as I know. So I don't know if that's a bug or if that's just intended to make black mages viable against everything but themselves, so they're just not a kill everything monster, or I'm not sure. I'm sure I'll get an answer. But in this case, I don't know. I mean, that's great. They totally wasted his AoE attack on that when he could have blown up our white mage and Yave over there. So let's just throw some death from a distance at the dragon, because I don't want to get near that because it'll start countering my melee. So our protects start to fade here, and worries me a little bit, but there's not a lot of time to recast them when trying to deal with the damage over time effects of the poison and our various units taking damage from various targets. We're going to start losing to attrition if I keep using Protect. And you did see me try a catnip there. I've grown to really like that spell. Didn't use it much in vanilla, but I've grown to really like it, using it on casters and on enemies you want to attack you. Either to force them to break a law and Colette misses, or to force them to melee instead of cast their more damaging and horrifying spells. So Yave was probably the best person for them to cast poison on, considering he's got a lot of health. Him or Marsh. And I'm glad that they chose to do something like that. So now everything but our mage is speed broken, and that's very good. I'm starting to feel a little more comfortable, even though there's still a lot of shit alive on the screen, and that dragon is still free to move around. And it's worrying me quite a bit. And as I said, now everything is speed broken. So, well, that's comforting. We just had our Panther wake up. And he's going to go right after our wounded black mage with his ranged attack. And that's so lucky. That was so lucky. I'm so happy that he missed. I really needed this black mage to stay up to use against these tougher monsters, as he does a lot of damage, and he can do it at range. And considering who's going next, I'm trying to pick my attacks, but it doesn't seem to matter all that much. I'm not going to be able to kill anything with this, but I do want to whittle something down. I need to bring something down. And if we can bring down that Panther, no more ranged attacks from him. Get the Black Mage to safety, and get our healer to safety, because that float eye is going to be coming out real soon. And I'm pretty sure that's a float eye. I think the red one's the one with a different name. But if I am fucking that up, let me know. I like to try to get the names right, even though I make mistakes. So, now that we're still going with our archer here, she can be used to damage stuff. And holy shit, we're actually able to use her. She's alive! I don't know why she's the first target, probably because of her low health, but she seems to be dead most of the time, or used for trying to lock down enemies. So here's where we're going to have the problem with the float eye. He's going to be waking up. So in this case, I struggled a little with trying to decide if I wanted to try to get in a position where I could re-sleep him or re-control him, but I decided that I'd rather try Catnip to berserk the caster again. And it worked. So now we don't have to worry about bunching up too much, other than the dragon. The dragon's definitely still a problem when it comes to bunching up, because I believe he's got Ice Breath, and there's that fly ability. Pain in the ass. Right after our archer, almost said caster. But he doesn't do enough damage, compared to the dragon at least. But the great thing now is their caster is pretty much just going ape shit with a cane. Or a staff, or whatever he's got. I haven't actually checked. And he's trying to beat Mont Blanc to death with the staff. So, as I've used before, combos to make sure shit dies. And we do bring something down. The Panther is dead. 3 enemies to go. Feeling pretty comfortable now. Even though the dragon is still active, he's in range to attack Yave and Mont Blanc. He can also use breath, if he does have the breath. I'm trying to recall real hard if he still has breath. So now we're going to start focusing down the float eye, as the mage is not my focus anymore. Or I should say the black mage, because there's multiple mages in Final Fantasy. And he's going to use breath attack. I thought for a second, haha, I tricked him. Except, you can't seem to do any elemental damage to black mages. I believe that still constitutes the Ice Breath as its elemental, but it missed there, so fucking joke's still on me. Now I'm trying to find a position to put our caster in here, and I'm able to get another protect off. Specifically because everything's melee now. And that dragon will one-shot shit anyway. So I'm doing my best to control the potential damage from him. Because surprisingly, I've survived this long with a dragon running around. I am glad that he is slowed and power broken. Because without that, he'd be running a fucking muck. And we still can't lock his leg down. And that's a trend that I really hope doesn't continue into the future episodes. Because the whole time, that dragon stressed me out in this battle. Even though everything looks okay, all of our guys are still alive, we're relatively safe, everybody's speed broken, the dragon's power broken, and we brought down an enemy. I can never relax as long as there's a dragon breathing down my neck. Potentially, literally, breathing down my neck. Now, I'm trying to decide, how do I want to use Mont Blanc? He's already put in some really good work enraging that guy. And he actually puts the dragon to sleep from the front. Chances were low, and Colette couldn't even leg him from the side, so I'm very happy with that. Good job, Mont Blanc. I won't be saying that very much, but for now, good job. And as you can see, poison's not making a big impact on Yave, and he's able to bring down the Float Eye. Now, I'm starting to feel real comfortable here, but you can't let your guard down because dragons. Fucking dragons. But since he's asleep and speed broken, I'm really not overly worried. So I can reverse some of this attrition here, start healing up our units, and taking things at my pace now, instead of having to adjust to the pace of where the hell the dragon's going, or try not to bunch up my guys because the Black Mage is going to blow them up. And I can just focus in on the actual battle. Sadly, we haven't been able to heal our Black Mage, Diesel, over here, because he's too far away to be healed. So I'm trying to move him within range to allow our healer to bring him back up, and to bring him into range of these enemies here, to try to finish some of them off. And now we're going to lay into the Black Mage, as he's obviously the biggest threat, as he's still active, even though he can only melee. And then I remember about these orbs. Third time playing this mission, remembered about the orbs. And definitely something to mention. If you destroy the orbs, the mission's over. Totally forgot that ended the mission. Now, looking at it now, we did kill the boss. Boss meaning the Black Mage here. I'm not sure if you're required to kill the Black Mage, then destroy those two things to win the mission, or if you just destroy those two things, you win the mission. It's been so long. And she does land a leg now because he's asleep, and we have the dragon under control. Last enemy. You can pretty much whittle him down. Doesn't matter, just stay out of his breath range, and you can whittle him. I do choose instead to, rather than sit around and gather up for an attack on him, I decide to just go for the orbs, as it's really not overly important to kill that unit. It doesn't make a big difference. So I use Mont Blanc to destroy the orbs. It does give him the judge points instead of whoever was going to kill the dragon, but I do use the dragon for plinking practice for some of my ranged units and some of my units who don't get to attack very often. And I do make use of first aid here so I can just get rid of that poison since he's got nothing else to do. And then we can use Darcy to gather up some XP by healing units and trying to keep them alive. For the most part, mission's in the bag. Just waiting for Mont Blanc's turns to process and for him to kill those orbs. And in the meantime, I'm just taking pot shots at the dragon to raise everybody's XP. Mainly Colette, as she's only level 5. But the good news is, so is our Black Mage that we just brought in. He's a character we picked up along the way, so he's not too far behind, but he's right along with Colette, as she hasn't been able to take many actions, as she's either the focus because of her low health, or she has to use aim leg most of the time. And it kind of has a low chance to hit unless you're behind or to the side of your enemy. So, just trying to gather up some XP as we wait, and it's Mont Blanc's turn. And for some reason I clicked on the wrong square like an idiot, and destroyed. And that'll do it. And as far as this mission went, not too hard. A lot of stuff to watch for because all of these enemies have a little danger in them in their own way. But, I mean, I couldn't even lock the dragon down. If you could lock the dragon down turn 1 or 2, I don't think this mission's going to be a big problem. So, like I said before, I'm really glad to be back, and I hope to continue more regularly. And we do pick up another white monk. Not too thrilled about that, but we'll see what we can do with him. So that's going to do it for this video. And I'd like to thank you guys again for sticking around and being so patient and everything, and for watching the video. And I will see you guys in the next one. Later.